In life, we provide life insurance and retirement products to help protect you and your family so that you can enjoy all the moments to come.
This is Josh Ray, your local Woodman Life agent. Come see us at 1009 West Main Street or give us a call at 365-6111.
Certain eligibility and age restrictions apply. Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society, Omaha, Nebraska.
Black Pide's Grill is a bar and grill with a twist. Come in and try authentic Irish fare or your favorite Southern comforts. Wednesday is burger night. Go to our Facebook page and vote for your favorite burger every week and check out our daily specials. Whatever your taste buds are craving, Black Pide's Grill has just what you want and will provide the perfect drink and dessert to top off the perfect meal. At Black Pide's Grill, the only problem you'll have is deciding what to order. Black Pide's Grill, Southern fare with an Irish flair on Main Street, Princeton. Chucky Arla.
West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction holds monthly auctions at the Auction Center on U.S. Highway 62 in Princeton, in the former Hancock's grocery store. Be sure to check their website for dates and times and listings of auctions and days at the Auction Center. WestKentuckyRealEstate.com has all of their upcoming auctions listed. If you would like to have an auction or would like to find out how to consign at an auction, contact West Kentucky Real Estate and Auction. Wayne Boyd, broker auctioneer.
Treasures Remembered Florist and Greenhouse, serving families in good times and bad times. They offer fresh bouquets and sympathy arrangements, custom wreaths and silk arrangements. They have a wonderful selection of gifts, sympathy items, unique wall art, frames and framed prints, birdhouses, candles, wind chimes, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, and Saturday, 8:30 to noon. Treasures Remembered Florist and Greenhouse, 600 West Locust Street, Princeton, serving Princeton and Caldwell County for over 100 years.
If you really enjoy the stories you hear on Traveling the Bluegrass, we'd like to invite you to listen to the whole visit uncut. Just type youragedge.com into your browser. You'll find Traveling the Bluegrass uncut stories in long form, so you don't miss a thing. You'll also find lots of ag news and farm pictures from across the Commonwealth. You can also find all the Kentucky communities that Traveling the Bluegrass can be found. Remember to visit youragedge.com.
Get into shape and feel good at Trilogy Performance Sports. Trilogy offers a wide range of family-friendly classes as well as personal training, yoga, gymnastics, sports training, cardio, and weightlifting. Trilogy has something for everyone. Trilogy now offers an app with online workouts, live classes, nutrition tracking, and more. Search Trilogy Performance Sports in your app store. Use sign-up code 1824. For app info and more, follow them on Facebook.
With YourSportsEdge.com, you get more coverage of your favorite teams, athletes, and sports.
Lets me know the student as a whole person.
With no page limits or subscription fees ever.
It needs exposure for the local high school athlete.
A new look and a new feel, no matter where you are.
Even if I'm out of town, I have it on my phone.
It's always available right at your fingertips.
Round-the-clock coverage of local athletes.
High school sports coverage the way it's supposed to be.
I love what they did with the website.
Download the free app now. YourSportsEdge.com.
It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning. This is Todd Griffin in the WPKY studios. Big basketball action tonight at the Community Activities Building. The Caldwell County Tigers and Lady Tigers will be playing host to Madisonville North Hopkins. That boys game is for the number 1 seed for the 7th District Tournament. The Tigers fell over at Madisonville earlier this season, but because in the 7th District, the second game is actually the tiebreaker. Caldwell County's guys can still earn the number 1 seed for the 7th District Tournament coming up in just over a week or so, and that'll also be at the Cab Gym. With a win tonight, Caldwell County gets that number 1 seed for the guys, and that's big because that keeps you away from Madisonville North Hopkins and Hopkins County Central in the first round of the district tournament. Again, senior night tonight. Girls will play at 6 o'clock. The guys will finish things up at about 7:30. And as always, we'll have all the action for you here on WPKY. You can listen on 1580 AM, 103.3 FM, and watch our live free video stream at WPKYonline.com tonight. The Tigers and Lady Tigers hosting Madisonville North Hopkins, a 7th District twin bill. Caldwell County's guys at 15-8 this season, looking to end a 4-game losing skid. However, all 4 of those games have been close, and it's been against really good competition. So that's coming up tonight. Caldwell County's girls at 10-13, taking on the Madisonville Lady Maroons in the opener. Stay with us. More to come here on the Sideline Report after this break on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Need cash fast? Get the money you need. Call ABC Finance now.
Life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes money is tight when you need it most.
At ABC Finance, we're here for you.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
And we can help you in a pinch, even if your credit is less than perfect.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000 and the individual attention to help you get your finances back on track.
We are locally owned and staffed, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
No appointment is needed. Walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call, and we will take your application over the phone.
Or you can apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
And like ABC Finance on Facebook.
ABC Finance in Hopkinsville on Fort Campbell Boulevard next to O'Charlie's and in Princeton Plaza. ABC Finance. All loans subject to normal credit approval.
Trice Hughes has been serving Western Kentucky for over 60 years. Their experienced sales force, ASE certified techs, and all the friendly folks at Trice Hughes have worked to become your family's exclusive automotive dealer. The home team that's kept our families safe on the road for generations. From work to play and everything in between, your home team has what you need. Stop by and drive the difference. Our home team, Trice Hughes, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
With YourSportsEdge.com, you get more coverage of your favorite teams, athletes, and sports.
Lets me know the student as a whole person.
With no page limits or subscription fees ever.
It means exposure for the local high school athlete.
A new look and a new feel, no matter where you are.
Even if I'm out of town, I have it on my phone.
It's always available right at your fingertips.
Round-the-clock coverage of local athletes.
High school sports coverage the way it's supposed to be.
I love what they did with the website.
Download the free app now. YourSportsEdge.com.
Goodwin Insurance Agency and Woodall Agency have great news. Effective January 1st, they have joined forces to provide even more options for all your insurance needs. Together, they provide the best prices and coverage from top-rated insurance companies and insure all lines of insurance. See Tori Hammett or Fred Foltz or go to insurewithgoodwin.com for more information. Don't pay too much for your insurance. Let them shop for you and save today.
With YourSportsEdge.com, you get more coverage of your favorite teams, athletes, and sports.
Lets me know the student as a whole person.
With no page limits or subscription fees ever.
It means exposure for the local high school athlete.
A new look and a new feel, no matter where you are.
Even if I'm out of town, I have it on my phone.
It's always available right at your fingertips.
Round-the-clock coverage of local athletes.
High school sports coverage the way it's supposed to be.
I love what they did with the website.
Download the free app now. YourSportsEdge.com.
If you really enjoy the stories you hear on Traveling the Bluegrass, we'd like to invite you to listen to the whole visit uncut. Just type youragedge.com into your browser. You'll find Traveling the Bluegrass uncut stories in long form, so you don't miss a thing. You'll also find lots of ag news and farm pictures from across the Commonwealth. You can also find all the Kentucky communities that Traveling the Bluegrass can be found. Remember to visit youragedge.com.
Local businesses have supported us in every regard. Now it's our turn to support them.
At the Edge Media Group, we believe that 2021 will be the start of the greatest comeback of all time. You truly made a difference in 2020 as you chose to support local and to rally behind our local businesses, clubs, organizations, and communities. We choose hope. And we're asking you to join us to motivate, inspire, and support others as we seek to not only survive, but to actually thrive. We believe that our communities can make the comeback stronger than the setback. It starts with supporting local. It is sustained by being positive and extending kindness. Please continue your extra efforts to support local. And thank you from the Edge Media Group for being a part of the greatest comeback of all time. You are making a difference.
The Edge Media Group encourages you to support local. Be sure to post what you're doing to show your support. #SupportLocal. local.
Here's something you should know.
Your Caldwell County property tax bills are ready online. Look it up on the website, caldwellcounty.kentucky.gov. New this year, in-person credit card payments accepted. For information, call 270-365-2088. For more information when you need it, visit our website, WPKYonline.com.
1580 103.3 WPKY. We care about our community.
Back on the Sideline Report at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Again, big basketball action coming up tonight at the Cab Gym. The Tigers and Lady Tigers hosting Madisonville North Hopkins. It's a busy time on the sports schedule, and we're going to talk about that now with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. Scott, good morning. How's everything going this morning?
Staying busy, Todd, just like you are, but everything going good.
That's great. It's a great time of year if you're a sports fan. You got the Super Bowl coming up and postseason times coming up for a lot of high school sports, and it's just a fun time to cover sports.
It is, and the Olympics going on. I'm a big Olympics fan, so I've enjoyed the past week and look forward to maybe seeing the U.S. win a few more gold medals in the coming week.
Well, and we just had regional swim action last weekend. We've got regional wrestling coming up this weekend, and we'll be out there in full force for the Region 1 wrestling tournament.
Yeah, Caldwell County this year, so going to be interesting to see how that breaks down. A lot of people have kind of solidified themselves in their respective classes, and there's been a few people make some changes in some classes, wrestle up or move back to where they were. So we'll see how it all plays out Saturday.
Yeah, one of the things I'm glad this year, they've kind of changed the format for the postseason. Last year, the wrestlers from the region went to a semi-state, and then only two wrestlers, the top two at the semi-state, got to actually go on to the big state tournament. This year, they've kind of changed that a little bit, which is great because only letting two wrestlers go from each semi-state last year really put a lot of pressure on kids, and basically it meant if you didn't get to the championship match in your weight class at the semi-state, you didn't get to go to state.
Right, and of course it made it even harder when you're in the same region as Union County, the wrestling juggernaut in the state, because they're pretty much going to have somebody in the championship of every weight class, which means that, there's one weight class where a couple years ago where all four from Region 1 were on the medal stand at state. And so last year, two of them would have got left at home because you can only take two from each region. So Region 1 has produced some good wrestlers, and there were several classes where they had, three or four. In other words, everybody went to state, got on the medal stand. So I'm glad to see them return back to that old method.
Well, it seems like Union County has won so many regional championships in a row that I can't even keep count anymore. I keep asking people, somebody's going to get Union County eventually, right? And then everybody just kind of gives me a funny look back. So I don't know if anybody's going to catch them or not.
I don't either until it happens. But, they do a solid job there. They get the numbers out, and wrestling, it's important. You want to be able to fill every weight class. It seems like every year they have someone in every weight class, and normally they end up wrestling for a region title.
Well, regional action begins about 9 o'clock out here on Saturday. I think the weigh-ins are at about 8. So that's just, to me, the wrestling tournament, the regional, and then the semi-state and the state, just great high school competition there.
It is, and kids put in a lot of work throughout the year. Wrestling is a lot like swimming. We talked about swimming earlier. It's not one of those sports that is probably in the spotlight as much as it should be, but the kids do a lot of work and prepare for it. And, we talk about Union County. Caldwell County's got some kids that are looking to qualify for state. They're looking for a good team score. Paducah, Tillman, McCracken County, Christian County, they've all got wrestlers to get some points and make things interesting.
Should be a great day out at the Community Activities Building. And, Scott, I always have a lot of respect for the kids who wrestle. I tell them I don't care if you go 0 for the season, just getting out there and competing, I think, is a big win.
Well, it is. And I think just the coaches strive to see improvement. And, one thing that's interesting that we're starting to see is, girls wrestling. And, it's not sanctioned by the KHSAA, but the Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association are trying to get it sanctioned. They were supposed to have their state tournament last weekend, and they've moved it to the 21st. But, Fort Campbell has a full team of girls wrestlers, and Trigg County has a girl wrestler, and I think either McCracken or, there's several in Western Kentucky. And you're starting to see more and more of the girls getting out and competing in wrestling as well.
Well, wrestling coming up. Again, the regional is Saturday, and Caldwell County gets to host it this year, so be sure and check that out. If you're in the area, you'll enjoy watching the wrestling, and I know all the wrestlers will enjoy having a big crowd there to take in the region wrestling tournament. Changing gears, though, to basketball. Scott, we found out yesterday there's a new format kind of this year for the second region basketball tournaments, and my first take on that is I'm not really a big fan of what they've done, but I guess this is what we're going to go with this year.
So it's my understanding that they're going to once again play the first round games at the district champions.
Yes.
And then there's going to be, semifinals on consecutive nights, and then the championship on consecutive nights.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple of different things. One saying the boys' championship on that Saturday will be at 1 o'clock. Somebody else said 4 o'clock. So I'm not really sure. I don't understand why you wouldn't play that at night at 6 or 7 o'clock to try to maximize attendance.
I don't understand either, and I wasn't in that meeting when they met and discussed that, and I'm sure somebody's got a rationale for it, but I don't understand why we're reinventing the wheel. I mean, I get that we've got COVID, concerns still about, but you're holding this tournament in the two biggest gyms in the region that seat 5,000 people. I don't think that, social distancing is going to be a problem. And I don't know. I covered the Hopkinsville Lyon County game last year. Of course, Lyon County got to host it, and it had the feel of a big basketball game, but it didn't have the feel of a region basketball game, a region tournament game. There's just something about showing up to Hopkinsville or Madisonville for the first round of a region tournament, knowing that you're going to have 2 games one night and then 2 games the next night, and then a few days later you're going to have 2 games for a semifinal and then a championship. There's just something about the atmosphere of the region tournament in a big gym, playing on a neutral floor. It's just hard to replicate, and I don't know if it's a financial, I haven't really had anybody come out and say the reason why, whether it's a financial decision or not, but I don't know. I'm not sold on it, and I have no idea why they're playing in the afternoon instead of playing at night. I agree. I think you get a bigger crowd at night.
Well, my understanding is admission fees for these first-round games are going to be $10 across the board. That seems a little steep when you're only getting one game.
Yeah.
For a doubleheader, that might not be that bad a deal. You get to come in and watch a couple of games and, enjoy that tournament atmosphere. And to me, getting to the regional tournament is kind of a reward. The teams deserve to get to play in front of that big crowd. You deserve to get to play in front of everybody else's fans, while they're waiting for their game or after their game's done. When you have it at individual sites, you've kind of stolen some of the fun out of the regional tournament.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on the format. I know other regions do it, and that's great. But that's, the one thing that the KHSAA really preached during the COVID-19 pandemic was local control. And they really didn't want to make blanket decisions in regards to how things are going to be done. They left it up to the local schools, the regions, on how to do things. And that's the thing about the state, the region tournaments is, some of them play on, some of them start on the Sunday afternoon and play. Some of them play at the first round sites at the district champions, others don't. I mean, they kind of leave it up to the regions to decide how to do it. But, just because that's how Louisville does it doesn't mean that that's how Region 2 should do it. And, unless you can sit down and say, hey, look at how much money we made and all the schools get to split in this money. I don't know. I just, like I said, it was a great game and a great atmosphere, but I just didn't get a region tournament feel from it last year. It just felt like a big regular season game. And I remember, you go to the region, like you said, you go to the region tournament, and if you get that second game, you're playing in front of your fans, but you're also playing in front of the fans of the second game. And your crowd would probably be bigger than it would if you're playing in your home gym.
Looking at the format that was announced, starting February 28th for the second region tournaments, the girls' first-round games will all be played at school sites. The next day, the boys' first-round games will be played at school sites. That's March 1st. March 2nd, you have the girls' semifinals at Madisonville. On March 3rd, the boys' semis over at Hoptown. Back to the girls for the championship on March 4th, and then the boys' final on March 5th over at Hopkinsville. And, I like the locations for the semifinals and the championship. I just, again, a little lost on why we're playing first-round games at school sites. I understand last year, Scott, because we did have the big COVID issues, and it was almost impossible to try to get two games in the same site or location. But it just seems like this year it's not quite that big a deal. And so, last year I was just appreciative to have sports. The easy thing last year, right, I think for everybody would have been just to have called everything off. So I give everybody a lot of respect for working and doing everything they could to get that season played. But I was really hoping this year we'd kind of get back to more normal circumstances as far as the second region tournament is concerned.
Well, I mean, we're having the semifinals, 2 games in one night.
Right.
So why can't we have 2 games in one night for one quarterfinal and 2 games in one night for the other quarterfinal? What has changed between the quarterfinals and the semifinals? Does COVID not happen at semifinals? You can only get COVID during the quarterfinals. I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to sit down and talk to an athletic director too and find out the reasoning for it. The thing is this: you mentioned the big thing right off the bat. $10. That's an awful lot of money for one game, and it's really going to price some people out of going, and that's a shame.
We're talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. Need to get to a break here on the Sideline Report. We'll be back with more after this here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Hancock's Neighborhood Market.
Weather Edge Weather Center forecast for today: sunshine with a high near 51. Mostly clear skies tonight, low 37. Partly sunny skies on Friday. Slight chance of a rain shower in the afternoon. Friday's high 59. Mostly cloudy skies on Saturday with a high only 36 degrees. Once again, our forecast today: sunshine with a high near 51.
Are you struggling to afford health care or medications? Let Health First help you. Whether you are insured, uninsured, or underinsured, you will still be cared for at Health First Community Health Center. We offer financial and prescription assistance to all those that qualify, which is based on income and household size. Contact our office at 1-877-667-7017 for more information, or visit our website, healthfirstchc.net. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. At Health First, your health is our first concern.
The Best of Western Kentucky 2021 is underway and the votes are rolling in. Have you let your voice be heard yet? You still have time. Voting ends February 20th. Just head over to WPKYonline.com and vote today. You might just be the one lucky voter to win $100 cash just for voting.
Why support local?
Better service. Local business owners are passionate about their products and typically take more time to get to know their customers. They'll often go the extra mile to help you to ensure you're a satisfied customer.
The Edge Media Group urges you to support local every chance you get.
We are back on the Sideline Report at 1580, 103.3 WPKY, talking with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio this morning. And Scott, we were talking about the regional basketball tournaments, and if you look at the boys' side of things, it looks like there's quite a lengthy list of possible contenders lining up for that this year.
It is. I'm not necessarily going to say it's wide open, but it's going to be interesting. And I think this year, there's not going to be an easy first-round game for anybody. The champion versus runner-up spots, you're going to see more than one district champion get a tough draw with a district runner-up. I mean, and there's still a lot of possibilities. I mean, Lyon County is the big favorite to win in the 5th district, and then either Trigg or Crittenden will advance out. The 6th district's wide open between Henderson, Webster, and Union. Any one of those teams could win the district and be the runner-up. The 7th district, Madisonville and Caldwell County appear to be the favorites. Hopkins Central, though, if they're hitting shots and playing well, they could put some points up on the board. And up in the 8th district, Hopkinsville appears to be the favorite, but UHA has played them tough twice. And Christian County, if they can find a way to score, they're going to be a tough out. I mean, it's going to be some interesting matchups in the region tournament, no doubt.
Well, and not to beat a dead horse, I think we did that pretty well earlier, but it'd be fun to watch all of these first-round games, and because of the format, we obviously can't.
Right. That's right. Because there are going to be some good first-round matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are 9 or 10 teams in the second region for the boys this year that are all pretty good. Not saying they can all win it, but I think they're all good enough to beat somebody in that first round. And to me, the first round of the region for some teams is almost like the first round of the NCAA tournament for some colleges.
Right. And then once you get to that semifinal round, that's where the best games are, is in the semifinals, year in and year out. I think the best games are in the semifinals. That's where your upsets happen. And you very rarely do you get a lot of blowouts in the semifinals.
So the boys have a lot of contenders, and we'll see how that goes. On the girls' side, is anybody going to handle Henderson County? Can anybody play with the Lady Colonels this season?
Webster County had them beat the other night. It was a 1-point game, and girl for Webster County, it gets fouled on a 3-pointer with a half-second left. She missed all 3 free throws, and Henderson won by 1 point on Henderson County's home floor. So, yeah, I mean, Henderson's the heavy favorite, but on any given night, who knows? And again, one of those teams in the 6th district, a very good girls team, is not going to make it to region. Either Union or Webster is not going to make it to the region, and both of them are probably in the top 4 in the region.
Seems like we're really getting close to that regional tournament time, and maybe just because last year everything got pushed back, it seems earlier this year, but with the district starting February 21st, it really seems like we're getting a jump on the postseason for high school basketball in Kentucky this year.
Well, we are, and then that means before you know it, it's going to be the start of baseball and softball. And, with them pushing back the start of baseball and softball, I think that may be one reason that they altered the region format, was because the start of baseball, softball has been pushed back to March 7th. And if you notice, they're getting done with the region tournaments before March 7th. And so that way, anybody who's playing, basketball, once their season ends, they can get to baseball and softball earlier. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but that would be a good explanation of why they're taking less than a week to play the region tournament, whereas in the past it would take a week and a half to get both the boys and the girls tournament in under the old format.
Yeah,
I think March 7th is way too early. Still, the weather's so unpredictable in March.
Well, I was going to say some colleges have already started their seasons out on the diamond, and a bunch of local kids playing college baseball this year from Caldwell County. I've counted 6 so far. Jace Felker's at University of Kentucky this year. Shane Burns is at Murray State. Bryce Thomas is at Northern Kentucky. Tate Van Hooser is playing at Ren Lake. We've got John Davis at Midway University, which is coached by former Tiger Luther Bramblett. And then Cody Holub is at Kentucky Christian. And, Scott, I know there's a lot of Trigg County kids that are on college rosters this spring, too.
Well, there are 2 of them out of my household. They're both at Brescia. Brescia played at Lindsey Wilson yesterday. Gabe Board plays for Lindsey Wilson and had a big day, 5 out of 6, and had 4 runs knocked in, including a home run, as Lindsey Wilson beat Brescia 17-7. Lindsey Wilson's already played 4 games. They're 2-2. Yesterday was a season opener for Brescia, but Brescia's got Kevin Brooks, who played at Dawson Springs. Leighton Stallings played at Christian County, and of course the Browns from Trigg County. Savion Radford, who played at Trigg County, he's on the JV team at Lindsey Wilson. So, yeah, there's quite a few, and Brescia was supposed to go to Memphis and play Christian Brothers in Memphis over the weekend. Of course, the weather was, still had ice and snow on the ground. They had to cancel that series because they couldn't get the ice off the artificial turf.
Oh.
So it wasn't a case of, it was been bad weather anyway. But yeah, they couldn't get the ice melted off the turf, and so they had to cancel that series. I'd never heard of a game getting canceled because of ice on the turf. But anyway, I don't do well sitting outside and watching baseball and softball in the cold weather. That's more football weather.
Yeah, it always seems like this is sort of a magical time of the sports year, though. Yeah, I think we're all guilty of always saying, hey, this is a great time for sports, but usually it is, which is okay. But in the springtime, you end up with all the basketball seasons finishing up, and then you've got the spring sports coming. And to me, one of the fun things each year is to get outside to those spring sports, to get to go to baseball and softball and tennis and track and all those kind of things.
Well, that's it. You're getting outside, and as long as the weather's good, that makes it really fun to cover. Not so much when it's 38 and a wind chill of about 20, but the fact that you're getting outside and there's more sports to cover outside, and track and field is still my favorite sport to cover. I just enjoy it. There's always something going on. You could bounce from event to event, and it's something different, but just the pure athleticism of the kids competing, and the gun goes up and it fires, and then 10 seconds later you got a winner, and then you go on to the next thing, and then the gun goes up and it fires, and about a minute and a half of competition, and then it's over, and then they'll run a distance event where it may take 4 to 8 minutes. You kind of catch your breath there, and then it's back to to the hurdles, and then you wander off the track and go to the field events where they're throwing the shot put or doing the long jump, or some schools do the pole vault. So that's just my favorite sport to cover. I mean, I enjoy all of them, don't get me wrong, but I'll volunteer to go cover a track meet just about every spring.
Talking this morning with Scott Brown from YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. Need to get to one more time out here on the Sideline Report. We'll be back with Scott right after this on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Brantley Furniture.
Weather Edge Weather Center forecast for today: sunshine with a high near 51. Mostly clear skies tonight, low 37. Partly sunny skies on Friday. Slight chance of a rain shower in the afternoon. Friday's high 59. Mostly cloudy skies on Saturday with a high only 36 degrees. Once again, our forecast today: sunshine with a high near 51.
Trice Hughes has been serving Western Kentucky for over 60 years. Their experienced sales force, ASE certified techs, and all the friendly folks at Trice Hughes have worked to become your family's exclusive automotive dealer. The home team that's kept our families safe on the road for generations. From work to play and everything in between, your home team has what you need. Stop by and drive the difference. Our home team, Trice Hughes, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Your local McDonald's wants you to know that they're ready to serve you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the drive-thru. They're offering curbside pickup service as well. To avoid the wait in the drive-thru, you can download the McDonald's app and try curbside pickup. They appreciate your patience and understanding during this time. We're all having to adjust. It's temporary. But in the meantime, enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner at your local McDonald's.
Back on the Sideline Report on WPKY with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. And Scott, I think you're the only guy I know that can read the noon news over at WKDZ while watching soap operas on the TV.
You know, I grew up a Days of Our Lives person in high school. And quick story, I was homesick in the 7th grade. And of course, at that time, you know, we had cable, but, you know, my mom was home. And so she was recovering from surgery. And so she watched her soap operas. And so it's one of those cases where, you know, you only had one TV in the house. So I couldn't go in the other room and play Nintendo or Atari or whatever, because it was hooked up to the big TV in the living room. And that's the one that, you know, my mom was watching soaps with. So she watched Days of Our Lives. And I said, if I've got to watch this, you have to explain to me who everybody is. So she gave me the brief history of the Bradys and the Hortons. And then I used that when I'd go on trips, basketball trips, and ride the bus. You know, you'd ride the bus at that time either with the cheerleaders or the managers or whatever. So, you know, it was a good way to meet girls because you could sit there and talk soap operas. But yeah, reading the noon news, one of the screens is on Channel 5, and but it's muted. And so I just, you know, in between breaks, commercial breaks and whatever, you look up and you see these people and you're wondering what's going on. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on without any sound, and that kind of makes it hard. But you know, I'm doing my best to keep up with the bold and the beautiful and figure out why, you know, why Brooke cries all the time, and, you know, why everybody seems to argue about something. So, you know, it's just a way to pass time during the commercial breaks of reading the noon news.
All I can think of when you talk about soap operas is like sands through the hourglass.
Yeah, so are the Days of Our Lives. Watched it, you know, watched Days of Our Lives growing up. Of course, my grandmother, she was Young and the Restless. It's interesting. My mom's one of the few people who swapped networks. You know, you either were a CBS soaps person like my grandmother. She would watch Young and the Restless, Guiding Light, and at one time Search for Tomorrow. But it was usually Young and the Restless and Guiding Light. Or you watched the NBC soaps, which was Days of Our Lives and Another World, or the ABC soaps, which was General Hospital and All My Children. But my mom would watch Young and the Restless and then switch over to Days of Our Lives. She would switch networks. So they're kind of going the way of the dodo bird now. You're seeing, you know, Another World is no more. There's no more Guiding Light. And The Bold and the Beautiful is only 30 minutes. Usually soaps used to be an hour, and that's only 30 minutes now. So I read something that was interesting, though, about that. Young and the Restless was the top-rated soap opera in the late 80s and early 90s. And then the O.J. Simpson trial happened, where O.J. Simpson's trial was on TV for months at a time, and so they shifted the soap operas to overnight. You could watch Young and the Restless, but it'd be on at 1 in the morning because they had O.J. Simpson coverage during the day. And the ratings have never recovered since. They've never went back to the pre-O.J. Simpson trial ratings. And so it wasn't long after the O.J. Simpson trial that you also started seeing soaps get killed off as well.
Well, and the heyday for soaps was kind of back when most of us only had 3 or 4 channels to watch anyway, right? I mean, when you have 500 channels to pick from during the day now, there's a lot more options out there.
Well, I think people's choices kind of switched too. Phil Donahue had his daytime show, and then Oprah had hers, and then it just you had People's Court was on, and then you had all these court shows and talk shows, and now that kind of took the place. It's a lot less expensive to do a talk show than it is to do a scripted television show. And so they kind of thought, maybe we're on to something. That's why there's so much reality TV on now, because you don't have to pay the people on reality TV except the winner. Like Seinfeld was pulling down, their characters are pulling down almost $1 million an episode, or Friends there at the end. Well, you don't have to pay that for reality TV. You just have to pay $1 million to whoever can not get voted off the island or whatever else. And so reality TV is a lot less cheaper to produce. It's the same way with talk shows, and I think that's what kind of killed the soap operas.
All I remember about the Phil Donahue show is the caller there? Is the caller there?
Right.
Every show. So.
Yep, is the caller there?
Talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton, Kentucky. Scott, appreciate you coming on the show today. Can't let you get away, though, before talking about your Super Bowl picks. Super Bowl 56, are you Rams or are you Bengals?
Yeah, I'm a Rams fan. I don't root much for anything involving Cincinnati, so it's kind of a personal thing.
That's a baseball thing, isn't it? It's a baseball thing.
Cincinnati's defense is really good. And I think that's going to make for an interesting thing. I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I played fantasy football, and we had a keeper league where you could keep 2 players. And for like 6 straight years, I kept Matthew Stafford as my quarterback because he would score a lot of fantasy points. And so this past year, I drafted Aaron Rodgers, and I'd had Matthew Stafford as my backup. This is a totally different league outside the keeper league. And by the second or third game, Matthew Stafford was my starting quarterback. He had put Aaron Rodgers on the bench. And so, just kind of rooting for Stafford and the Rams, and, root for any pro team that runs Kentucky's offense. So, I think the Rams got a little too much offensive firepower for Cincinnati's defense. So, I don't know. I'll say 24-14 Rams.
All right. I think the Rams are the better team. Doesn't mean they'll win. Honestly, I thought the Tennessee Titans were the better team when they played the Bengals. The Bengals won that game. So, the best team doesn't always win the game.
Yeah, Titans had coaching going against them, though, and so that's the issue there. We talk about that a lot, chasing points early in the game, and when the Titans started chasing points early, you knew it was going to come back and bite them. And sure enough, if they'd have kicked that extra point in the first half, then it kind of changes the complexion late in the ball game. Instead of kicking a field goal, they had to have scored a touchdown. And I never understand why, when a team misses an extra point on their first or second touchdown, they feel the need to go for 2 immediately. Just Now unless your kicker's struggling, if you got a kicker who can't find the uprights, I get it. But in the NFL, that's not the case. So if you miss an extra point, just kick the next extra point. And, because if you keep chasing points, you're going to lose a point here, you're going to lose a point here. Next thing you know, you've lost 3 or 4 points, and instead of the game being tied late, you're down 4. Instead of being able to kick a field goal, now you got to go for a touchdown. So I think that was the big thing that worked against the Titans.
Yeah, I think NFL coaches and college coaches sometimes really struggle on when to do the 2-point thing. My personal stance is that you should never, ever go for 2 until you are forced to do so.
Right, unless you have to, late in the game. And the only other time, and I see this in high school a lot, and I don't have a problem with it too, is, a team will get up 34 points and they'll go for 2. And you're like, why are they going for 2? Well, they want to trigger that running clock.
Right.
The running clock comes in at 36. And I'm okay with that. At that point, I'm okay with going for 2 to get a running clock and get everybody home. Now that's not the case in college or the pros, but that's the reason why you go for 2 in high school when you maybe don't have to. But yeah, the mentality of, hey, we missed that extra point, so now we have to go for 2 right now. No, you don't. Just keep kicking your extra points and doing that. Because the thing is most coaches have 2, maybe 3 plays that they're going to run on a 2-point conversion. They're go-to plays. Well, if you burn those early and it gets late in the game and you have to have a 2-point conversion, what play are you going to run?
Yeah, you've used them already, so.
You've used them, and the idea on the 2-point conversion is to kind of catch them off guard. You want to catch the other team, by surprise. So, yeah, I was a little surprised that the Titans didn't do, better than they did. Derrick Henry's injury didn't help them. Again, Tannehill gets a lot of the blame, but, he's trying to drive down the field and get his team into field goal position. Had the Titans kicked that extra point in the first half, there's a good chance now he's running out the clock. He's not having to throw the ball. He's handing off to Derrick Henry to run the clock out. And I know a lot of things can change through the game, but, there's no need for him to be throwing the football with a 1-point lead late. It's handoff. And so, so then they turn around and give Vrabel and Robinson, who I think has done a good job as GM, contract extensions. But I think the Titans were also hurt by Arthur Smith taking the Falcons job. He was a very good offensive coordinator, and I think some of their play calling, especially when they chose to go for 2, when they didn't have to, that play call was a little iffy as well.
Well, I think the Titans are well put together. I think they built the team, from the line out, which is a good way to do it. But in the NFL, your window for, the opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl is usually really limited. And, how much longevity does a Derrick Henry have? So with that being the case, do the Titans go out and maybe look for another quarterback, or is Tannehill good enough?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some days he's good and some days he's not. And they went out and tried to get him some receiving help. And, of course, Julio Jones was hurt for a little bit, but, A.J. Brown is turned into a top, receiver, but they got to keep him healthy. I think it starts with their secondary. They've had one of the worst secondaries for as long as I can remember. I mean, there was a joke that they were going to rename the burn unit at Vanderbilt Medical Center after the Titans secondary. I think they're going to have to go out. They're going to have to shore up their defense a little more and make it a little better than what it is. I mean, their linebackers are solid. They're good up front, but their secondary's terrible. And I mean, it always has been. And so until they get that fixed, I don't think they could be mentioned among Super Bowl picks every year.
Well, coming up this week, we both got the Rams then. Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Super Bowl
I'm going to say
champs.
Rams by 10. So if it goes like my Kentucky Derby pick, that means the Bengals are going to win. But I just find it hard to root for anything from Cincinnati. So I'm just going to keep that and take the Rams. And hopefully the Rams will surprise us all and come back with the 80s Rams uniforms for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that would be sweet. I'm not counting on it, but that would be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little surprise if they busted out the Eric Dickerson Rams uniforms, Vince Ferragamo era uniforms.
All right, Scott, I appreciate you coming on the show this morning, and a busy time coming up for your Sports Edge, so we'll be out there at the ball games.
Yep, we're going to be hunkered down and giving the best coverage there is. Appreciate it, Todd.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. That is Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio, and here on WPKY Radio tonight, we'll have Caldwell County basketball. The Tigers and Lady Tigers hosting Madisonville North Hopkins at the Cab. We'll have it for you here on the air. You can watch live and for free at WPKYOnline.com. That's going to wrap us up on the Sideline Report for this Thursday. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY Radio and YourSportsEdge.com. Thanks for listening here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
WPKY Princeton.
I'm Chris Foster. It's the biggest spike in annual inflation since 1982.
7.5% is where inflation came in year over year. Month over month, we're looking at a 0.6% increase.